In our neck of the woods, sports is tradition. Sports is passion. Sports is family. Sports is fun. Welcome to our house. This is Southeast Sports Plus Live with Simone and Gerhard Mathangani.
On the sideline this game with us wearing black jerseys.
Oh, Coach Drink. I gotta fit in somehow. I'm more than likely. We'll see what the forecast is. I kind of know, but I'm expecting that. So it's kind of got its own life of its own right now. So we're rolling with it.
That's the only question I needed to find out for the day. All right, see you.
We call that poking the bear. In sports, we call that poking the bear, having a little bit of fun. Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz having a little bit of entertainment there in the annual weekly SEC teleconference there with the coaches that we hear from every single Wednesday evening. Of course, we know the hot topic in Tuscaloosa has been this black hoodie that Kalen DeBoer has pretty much, he doesn't have a choice. The fan base is saying, Coach, you have to wear this because when you wear this, we win. Eli's having a good time with it.
Going into the Vanderbilt game, they were 11-2. Now, I don't know who keeps up with these stats, but
somebody
11-2
somewhere
going into it.
Yeah.
12-2 now after that win over Vanderbilt. So, yes, no, he has to keep it. And Drink was like, hey, are you going to bring that good look hoodie over to Columbia? If so, we're going to change our game plan a little bit.
I didn't realize he said, are you going to wear the black hoodie of death? The black hoodie of death is what he called it on the sideline with us wearing black jerseys. That is absolutely hilarious. The black hoodie of death. So I think that Coach has said on record several times that when he wears the black hoodie of death, obviously he understands that people have these ideas that, hey, okay, you have to wear this to win. What am I trying? What's the word I'm not being able to say right now? Superstitions. Sorry, that was the word I'm trying to get to. These superstitions that he has to do that. He's kind of playing around with it. But here's the deal. One slip up not wearing that, and people will come for your head. That is the SEC. It just means more. Fans are outrageous. Nothing makes sense, and that's how it would go.
Every coach, if you start to think about it now, this is now a 12-game sample size, or a 14-game sample size. He's 12-2 with it. But every Bama coach has had their thing. So you had, obviously, Bear Bryant with the houndstooth. Then you had Nick Saban with the straw hat. I know he didn't wear it during games, but he was just always synonymous with him. And now the black hoodie here for Kalen DeBoer. Yes. It might be a superstitious thing where the Bama fans are saying, because Bama fans do this. They change shirts during games. They have game day shirts, game day jerseys. Yep. And they're like, hey, if I see our coach beating Georgia in the black hoodie, I want him to wear this thing all the time.
Whoever did these stats, these are the stats. Let me get them officially here. This is from On3. Okay. In 18 games over the last 2 years, Alabama is 12-2 when DeBoer is in a black hoodie of some kind, and just 1-3 when he coaches wearing crimson. DeBoer is a perfect 10-0 when he sports the classic black hoodie. So, like, there's specific. There's black shirts. Yeah. There's the black cutoff. The one with the hood. 10-0. I'm just telling you. As a coach's wife, as a former college athlete, check every single box. As a sports fan, he does not have a choice. You might want to bring one and pack about 4 more just in case you lose one in luggage. That's in the carry-on. You know how they say put the important things in the carry-on? Right. That's going in the carry-on. Yeah. That does not get in the truck. Now listen, I understand that they fly like the private planes and all that. I'm joking. But the seriousness, that you can't have that one left behind.
No, you can't. And he said, Kalen DeBoer has said that he is not a superstitious guy. Sure. I'm not really superstitious. I mean, I'll have an umbrella up during, inside the building. I'll walk underneath a ladder. But if I'm around somebody who I know it's superstitious, see, that's the thing. I don't believe in it. So even the salt over the shoulder, I don't believe that this
Patrick,
is as good
I'm going to ask you to come in on this one because I don't think that's accurate. Because literally just yesterday, you weren't wearing your Cub shirt, and you're like, I wore my Cub shirt. And by the way, Patrick is celebrating the beginning of the hockey season. But the other day, yesterday. No, don't try to backdoor it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I love nothing more than proving guys wrong in life, and most especially on this show. And it's a daily occurrence. And so thank you for eating your words on this. But just yesterday, you're like, I didn't have a Cub shirt, and now they won.
Yeah, but
right?
now you can't ever wear it again.
Now at this point, you've already backdoored.
It's just got to be around me. That's the thing. It's got to be around me. It doesn't have to be.
Where was it? Where was it? On the floor? Where did you have it? Did you have it here?
No,
did you summon it?
It's in the car now. I just need to have it in case I need to put it on. And so, yes, in that regard,
like a rally cap?
Yes. But we scored 4 runs in the first inning. I didn't need it.
And you're like, you know what? I'm going to leave that thing in the car.
We're good.
We're good. We don't need that.
You don't need it.
But let me just tell you right now, This man, 35 seconds ago, just said he wasn't superstitious, okay?
I didn't think about it. This is the only thing I'm superstitious about.
Now he's doing damage control.
I've spent like 15 years with you in the last, 15 years. I've spent a lot of time with you, and I know that is not true. I can sit here and find the list, and you know what? And maybe after the next break, I'll actually have the list. A lot of hot topics to get to today, guys, here on Southeast Sports Plus. It's going to be a fun couple of hours, and a lot of different things throughout the SEC.
Yeah, Garrett Nussmeier looks to rebound against South Carolina coming up this week. Can Auburn finally end this streak of 8 straight wins in the Deep South's oldest rivalry, 130 games, 130th matchup between Auburn and Georgia this week? The latest on John Mateer. The Vegas line, some other people are saying that he could be under center in Saturday's matchup against the Texas Longhorns, and a former SEC standout takes the mic ahead of Thursday Night Football, but lots of former SEC players playing today. Here is a big game in a division in the NFC East between the Eagles and the Giants.
Cannot wait. We will hear from Jalen Hurts and kind of break down Thursday Night Football here in just a little while. We also have several big SEC talents right here next to our nation that are going to join the show here over the next couple of hours. That includes our guy Brian Holland there in Baton Rouge holding it down with the Bayou Bengals. We'll hear from Mr. Holland in just a bit. Our guy Jack Patterson joining us from Columbus, WRBL, to talk all things Auburn, Georgia, the big rivalry game. Looking forward to that one, a night one there at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Cam Newton is making his return there to the Plains, so a lot to look forward to there. And Holden Cruzmark, as always, holding it down for us from OKC. We will check in with him, get the latest on John Mateer and much more from the Oklahoma Sooners here in just a bit. But going back to this game against Alabama and Missouri really quick, Gerhard, this line has been a little bit concerning, a little bit confusing. And I was not, just like you act like you aren't superstitious, at one time, I didn't read into the line very much until you taught me how to gamble. Now, I've not yet made a bet because I don't still trust it. However, I'll tell you this, it's made me start to wonder how much Vegas knows, and they don't miss often.
They don't miss often, and here's the thing. You could just gauge it. You literally just use the line to gauge where they think these two teams are. Now, I think that this is some love for Missouri, but also maybe a possible look-ahead spot for Alabama with the Tennessee game coming up next. And maybe that's the reason why the line is as small as what it is. It's 3.5 right now. I think by the time we get to game day, there'll be so much Alabama money, it might push it to maybe 4.5, 5.
I still think that's low for what the tradition of this game, in whatever capacity that it even, I mean, there was a time that would have been like a cross rival or across a game back when we had the divisions. But this game is not one that really stands out as something where I'm going, okay, this is going to be some tough battle. I think that the possibility of it being a trap game, the question marks of what is Missouri, because they haven't played anybody yet, really. And will we see something different? And you've argued several times now that they have a guy in the backfield who might be the best in the league.
He's not only the best in the league, in my opinion, he's the best in the country. And the yards will tell you that. He's got 9 touchdowns. Ahmad Hardy, who played in the Sun Belt a year ago, played at La Monroe for our buddy Brian Vincent.
That's what the Sun Belt is now. It's the feeder program for the SEC. They just go snatch all the, look, no fluff. Everybody.
And you don't know how good these guys are going to be when they do make that move to the Power 4. But he has been the best of the best. More than 700 yards this year. More than 100 yards in every game so far this season. If you're drawing up a way from Missouri to beat Alabama, is to keep Ty Simpson, Caden Proctor, Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, keep them off the field. You could do so with a good ground game, maybe that's what Coach Drink is saying, is like, hey, look, we just want to shorten this game up as much as we can, and we have the running back to do it.
Obviously, Missouri 5-0 on the season. They have a win over South Carolina. They have that win over Kansas in the rivalry game that they kind of refueled back over there. So quality wins, so to speak, but are they battle-tested in the SEC? Maybe not yet. They will be on Saturday, no question. You got to add in the fact that it's an 11 a.m. kickoff, and everybody hates those. Who wants to tackle anybody at 11 a.m.?
I think that's.
I have to tackle a 3-year-old at 11 a.m. I promise you, I don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to tackle a 200 whatever pound, 300 whatever pound guy either. So
I was listening to Kane Womack's press conference from Monday, and one of the things he brought up is something I never thought about, is that the 11 kickoffs on the road especially, it accelerates your entire calendar. It accelerates when you leave. It just throws you off, and football coaches and players are creatures of habit, and it just throws you off, and it doesn't seem like much between 2:30 and 11, or a 6 o'clock game and an 11 a.m. game, but it throws you off just enough. And just like we said, you hate them. We all hate them because why? You're barely still awake at that point.
Bro, when I played college basketball, I don't care if it was at Bowling Green or if it was at the Little Sisters of the Poor, whatever. Like when you wake up and you're like, all right, well, I got to go to the gym. It's cold out. You got to stretch the muscles. And it's just easier when you wake up in your own bed. You just make the little hop, skip, and a jump over to your stadium in your normal locker room. It's way easier when you're the home team. Nobody really wants to play at 11 a.m. The advantage is certainly with the team that is sitting there in their own stadium. Guys, we will have more on this Alabama-Missouri game coming up here in just a little while. Talks to coordinator there over Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator at Alabama. We'll have that coming up in just a little bit. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to go to Baton Rouge, check in with our guy Brian Holland, and talk all things LSU. That's in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, Simone, Gerhard, Patrick, rolling right along in hour number 1 here on the show. Several huge matchups in SEC play this week. Last weekend, LSU on the bye after that loss in Oxford to Ole Miss. A ton of eyes on that game. LSU takes their first loss of the season. We want to welcome in our guy, Brian Holland, holding it down as always there in Baton Rouge. Brian, I know it's a really busy time for everybody. Appreciate your time so much, sir. I know that you earlier this week had a chance to hear from BK. What's the tone like after the bye week, man?
It's so funny running around town and listening to all, of course, the LSU fans here and all across South Louisiana. Man, a lot of concern for Garrett Nussmeier and the health, and, quarterback talk. And I know we talked about it like he's supposed to be, kind of the dean of the quarterbacks this year. He's supposed to be that first-round draft pick that is ready to go, top of the draft in April. And all of a sudden now you've got a torso injury. He can't rip it like we know Garrett can rip it. So it's been one of the busiest bye weeks, really, that I've ever participated in. I mean, everyone's concerned about what 18 is going to look like. Yeah. And it's interesting, you heard different messages too. I had this whole, diatribe in the bye week about promises and how promises weren't kept. Well, you were promised that the running game was going to evolve and get better through the season. And by the way, what better week to do that than against Ole Miss? They can't stop a nosebleed, right? Well, they kind of stopped LSU. So promise not kept. And then Brian Kelly came out promised for the Ole Miss game. Garrett Nussmeier will look like the Garrett Nussmeier of old. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's fine. He looked fine the week before. Didn't look so fine there against Ole Miss. Really from what I saw, and I've talked to a guy that trains quarterbacks, and he was an LSU and Tulane quarterback, Lester Ricard, about the mechanics of what he's seeing from Garrett Nussmeier. He did not like what he saw at Ole Miss. It looked like he was really having to throw his body across because he had to make up for whatever is ailing him. They haven't been super specific and forthcoming with, of course, their injury notes. So we're making guesses along the way. Now he, of course, took all the mental reps, was what Brian Kelly told us, but he didn't throw for about a week and a half. So it's supposed to be rested. We'll see what promises are kept out on the field this week.
Mental reps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Virtual reality.
Yeah.
How things have took a turn down there in Baton Rouge. We're on mental reps now, guys. Lord Almighty.
We have seen teams like Ole Miss go to their backup quarterback, and we've seen Trinidad Shambliss just go off. Is there any thought at all to just give Garrett another week to heal up? Because it feels like these are nagging injuries more so than it is anything that'll keep him out long term. Is there any entertainment to that at all, or is it just keep on with old number 13?
I think I was on this show when I was talking about, Southeastern Louisiana. It's a team that's never going to hang with you. They're not going to score more than, a couple of points. Why not run Michael Van Buren out there? Because he has SEC starts and SEC experience. Why not give Nussmeier not just the bye week, but kind of another bye week when you play Southeastern? You don't need him out there. And they opted to not. And then the very next week after Southeastern came Ole Miss, and we saw what we saw. So I don't think that you can now do that, because you now have 6 SEC opponents in the next 7 weeks, and it's going to get really serious. I think it was really serious last year, right, when you played the Gamecocks, and it felt like they had control of that ball game until you knocked Lenora Sellers out of that game, so that he literally could not beat you because he was sitting on the sideline. So look, that's one of my bugaboos is when people say literally, and it's not. They're just trying to emphasize the point. So I hung around there for that.
I was trying to decide for a minute how often I say that in an hour and how often it's actually meant in the moment. So I'm not sure I'm not sure I'm 100% on all times I use that literally. So now I'm going to think about that, Brian. I hate that. Dang it, Brian. When it comes to the, I don't want to do the thing that SEC fans do, but that's always what we like to do anyway. If the wheels are falling off, right? If there's a time for the wheels to fall off, this could be it. I mean, right? That's all. It could be any time for anybody in this league. But right now, there's an opportunity to be back home in a night game. Good Lord, if we talk about the night games at LSU one more time, take a shot every time you hear that, right? Okay, so they're going to be there in Baton Rouge, Tiger Stadium, all the hoopla and all of that. Then the road gets not easier for a good minute. If this goes south, and you look at what this looks, the road ahead for LSU. Do you feel like they're just playing on their heels at this point? Because 2 losses, 1 loss in the SEC, 1 loss in the season is all right, there's not a lot of room for error. 2 losses in a playoff berth is, you're probably on the outside looking in unless you just make a lot of magic, end up in the conference championship game, and then, get there in the postseason.
Yeah, and to your point, I think if you look at that schedule, I think most people would say, 9 out of 10 dentists, right, would say that over that next month, this is your easiest ball game. Think about that. Yeah. Because you have to go to Vandy.
Probably true.
I made the joke.
Let's go to Vandy, man. We're wild. It is 2025, guys. You got to go to Vandy.
We are 2025ing right now.
We are.
When Alabama had a player who, got held out of the ball game because I guess it was the head-to-head contact and couldn't play for the next first half, right? Because it happened in the second half. I tweeted out something like, "No Bama player has ever thought, oh no, I now cost my team against Vanderbilt the next week because I'm sitting out the first half."
That's
but
accurate.
Vanderbilt is that team, and you don't want to go to Nashville and have it half full. And last time LSU was there, they drank the stadium out of the top 3 beers. Literally. They brought a beer truck at halftime.
They did?
Yes.
You know what's just yesterday, our guy Pete Iannity joined us from Spartanburg, and he said that South Carolina is going to go. Let's be honest, it's 100,000 drunk folks in Baton Rouge, folks there in the body. He's not wrong, and they take pride in it.
They do not play down here. Even down the street, I was watching ESPN just now, and they were doing live shots from Tulane, of all places. and they had smoked alligator and kids skipping class and bobbing for beignets in the powder.
Bobbing for beignets in the powder.
In the powder.
Okay, I'm telling you right now.
Wow.
If you have ever inhaled like powder from a beignet into you are having serious congestion issues. I mean, it is not good. When I was in New Orleans, I did this because I was trying to walk and eat beignets, which, by the way, 10 out of 10, do not recommend at all. If you inhale that powder, you're gonna have a problem, and it's not fun. It's not fun.
It's gonna be all over.
It is not good.
It doesn't just get on your. It doesn't just get on your shirt. It gets somehow onto your shoes. Like it's just
it's everywhere. And then it's into your. I mean, you're choking. I mean, it's not good. It's not a good situation. Thank you, Patrick, for taking the main shot there when I was sitting there, showing what that looks like. But Brian, bring us back to the center because that's hard to do. When outside of the question marks of what Nussmeier's injury status is, where else does this team, in your mind, need to dial things in? Because it's not like Ole Miss ran away with this win, and right now, had it gone the other direction, we're talking about an undefeated LSU team, and maybe we're not as, pinpointing all these issues, maybe, so to speak. But if there is something out there, what is it? What is BK kind of complaining about right now?
No doubt it's the offensive line and getting an attitude there on that offensive line halfway through. Well, actually, it was before the game, 1 hour before the game in warm-ups, they had a concussion. And so you had to bring in a true freshman at right tackle. So now, Darius Kern is his name, and he is a big boy, and he's SEC ready physically. But as a freshman, there's just going to be some of those things that you're just not going to see, and you've got to experience and go through some of the growing pains to be a tackle in the Southeastern Conference. Mm-hmm. Now, the talk is Kern is still pushing for that tackle spot. So they may kick in someone there to guard, because guard, especially left guard, is just complete whiffs from the film that I looked at. The running game is just it's a mess.
Yeah.
And so you talk about offensive line, usually you're talking about protection, and that goes into it too. But there is just no attitude in the run game, and it's so weird to see an LSU helmet not come across the line there and knock someone back.
Yeah.
And on top of that, just completely whiff, and it's instant pressure, and running back can't go anywhere.
For all the struggles offensively, this defense has been elite. You talk about Harold Perkins Jr. and Whit Weeks. I know you made a lot of headlines off the field, but to me, it seems like this defense is doing their job, holding the rope. Do you sense any frustration from the defense saying, "Hey, we're doing our job here"? I think they held Ole Miss to 17 points through the first 3 quarters, and the offense can't score 3 touchdowns to get them that lead. Is there any frustration, or is it just, hey, we're going to keep doing our job and maybe do like South Carolina does and try to score from their defense?
I don't think there's frustration, at least yet. It's still early in the season. But, you talk about some of these players, and the point of emphasis all season long has been we're bringing DBU back. And so it's still kind of like in front of the fans, still trying to earn those stripes, if you will, and be that DBU and have people call you DBU and be confident in dubbing them that. So, and then you got 2 guys who just, all they want to do is football all day long in the middle. It's Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks, and Whit, takes your face mask off and then smiles about it. He's always smiling. He's always happy. He's always optimistic. And, the defensive line, they've been pretty good as well. Mm-hmm. But no, I don't sense any frustration. I think they're still trying to be that old school LSU defense that you can count on.
Let's take a listen to head coach Brian Kelly this week on what this is going to look like on Saturday and also down the road here for the Bayou Bengals.
Look, I come at from this a different perspective, right? I think we have all this build up to the season. We have all this time to read and think about who the best is, and everybody's got to get their shout out as to who the best quarterback is and and sometimes that's just, not realistic. I think what I'm more interested in is let's be a little bit more patient. Let's see how this thing plays out. We got a big stretch of games in front of us. Whatever your narrative is on our quarterback, so be it. You earn what you get in everything you do in life. But there's so much in front of us. So I just think maybe the lesson is in everything we do in life, let's be a little bit more patient. Let's wait till all the facts get out. Let's be a little bit more interested in what this process looks like than trying to get out with some kind of announcement right out of the gates. That's just
Every time that I hear Brian Kelly talk, I'm really grateful I'm not in a state that he works in. So I don't have to listen, because it would be difficult for me to not just say something like, okay, 1, there's no time for patience. 2, whatever your narratives are about your quarterback. Well, bro, you're the one that has literally gone like seven different directions with this. You've been ambiguous to a fault at times. It's exhausting. But then he wants to peel back the curtain in other ways. Like, you can't have one. I mean, he wants to have his cake and eat it too in every situation, Brian. This guy drives me nuts.
I think if I was to the point in my career that Brian Kelly is, you would probably not care. I'm going to use the on-air word for that. Not care at all. Not 1, not 2. Okay. I'd probably not care what people really thought about my press conferences. And, he's seen it all.
I mean, it works for him.
You've had the feeling where you show up to SEC media days and you're like, all right, this guy over here is proclaiming this is the best quarterback, and this guy is this hot take. And so, like, if you kind of go through that, I can almost understand that part of it from Brian Kelly's perspective, where you're just going like, look, whatever's going to be is going to be. We're going to find out in a month and a half whether I get up here and say this or I say something else or someone else. It doesn't matter. It all happens on the field anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think that when it comes to my frustration with him is absolutely the inconsistency in his messaging.
Yeah.
He wants to be this pull the curtain back, tell everybody everything, feel good. Then the minute something happens, he's like, nope. I mean, at least be the same guy. At least you know what to expect out of a Nick Saban or others. You can name the list. It's just, man, you don't know what you're going to get. And listen, LSU could go run the table and they could go win a national championship. Oh, that's certainly on the table. He just does everything with such a smug attitude sometimes. I'm just like, man, you are just it's something, Brian.
I think that was part of my frustration when I was talking about promises. It just kind of feels like the operation just, if he's supposed to be one of these dean coaches here in college football, he's got the most active wins, right? Then act like it. Yeah. Act like you've been there. Act like you. So I completely understand the frustration. I know exactly where you're coming from because we down here have to take that sound bite and talk about it.
And then put it on our show so we can sit and be frustrated for 5 minutes, and then we can go to Jack Patterson. What's what we're going to do next. So, listen, Brian, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your time, your insight as always. Keep holding it down there in Baton Rouge. Tell Chester we said what's up, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, talk soon.
All right, guys, thanks, good stuff there. LSU, of course, will host South Carolina. I'm sure we really talked about the game, but picking apart Brian Kelly's mannerisms is always one of my favorite hobbies and pastimes.
Well, I think they walk hand in hand. I mean, because of the way he's handled this whole Garrett Nussmeier thing, is telling you, the inconsistencies that he has as a coach. And then we're just a week and a half removed from him yelling at a reporter for criticizing the offense.
Dude, just go back to having a Southern accent or something. Yeah. Like, do something that's funny that isn't so, like. Do something that's like funny, not like ridiculous. I didn't like him at Notre Dame. All right, guys, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go to Columbus, Georgia to chat with our guy, Jack Patterson. Talk the Deep South's oldest rivalry between Auburn and Georgia. That's in 2.5 minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus, rolling right along. Simone, Gerhard, Patrick, joining you as we talk all things Week 7. Is it Week 7? Week 7 of the college football season. It is flying by. Halloween. I don't even have a Halloween costume. You have a Halloween costume picked out yet?
The last time I picked out a Halloween costume, I was single digits age old.
So, like, that was only a couple years ago.
So, like 2 years ago.
Patrick, you have a Halloween costume?
Let's see. I think we talked about something. I think Kenzie and I.
Are you going to go trick-or-treating?
I'm not gonna go trick or treating. You still gotta wear a costume.
I mean,
I'll wear a costume on the show.
Oh yeah, well I won't be here. I mean, I'll be
I'll make sure.
I hope that you guys enjoy that. I will be trick or treating and taking the entire day off because when you become a parent, Halloween it's like 10 out of 10. It is the best thing ever. I didn't care about it before, but now it's like to me it's as important as Christmas Day.
See, last year I think I did 3 Halloween costumes. I did the first one was golfer and Kenzie was a caddy.
Last year in 1 year you did 3. Oh, you're in college, so yeah, and after you have parties and stuff to go to.
And then I was Boston Rob from Survivor.
Okay, yeah.
On a Friday, and then I went as a hockey player. She dressed up as Stanley Cup. So.
Oh, okay, nice.
That's nice. So that was like you trying to put it out into the world. Speaking of pro sports, our guy Jack Patterson there in Columbus, Georgia. This is a guy. He is all knowing, all things. Back with his rotating Georgia helmet, and man, at some point I would just want a closer look at all the things that you have in that office because it is crazy. I'm sure there's something Braves in there. How are the Braves doing in the postseason, by the way?
Whoo!
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Listen, man, you're coming in here with all the heat, all the smoke. You were sitting here trying to dog me out on my social media yesterday.
I watched what happened on this fair program, and just one thing I want to say: Yankees lose.
Okay. That was dropped in the group chat last night by one Patrick Walsh.
Yes, Patrick Walsh came in strong with that exact comment.
And please understand, Patrick, you are not free from the smoke either because in this sports department, in the highlight factory, low Mets never die.
Hey, okay, Jack, because I went up to fine old Atlanta, Georgia, up to Truist Park a couple months ago and watched the Mets clobber 7 or 8 home runs against those amazing Atlanta Braves. Hey,
how did that work out for you?
Wait. Do they do this there?
How'd that work?
Do they do this there?
Yeah.
You know what? I would rather watch this than I would talk about anything.
When's that last championship the Mets have brought to New York City? Huh?
I will say that's kind of cool.
That's true.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm into hockey.
Man,
listen,
listen. I dig the jersey. I'm not a Lightning fan. I'm a Predators fan, but I dig the jersey. Okay, I dig the jersey. I will give you that. Okay.
Both my football teams are bad, so I'm already onto hockey.
Yeah, but you got to understand, we are deep in Braves country. We're the home of the AA affiliate. Shout out to Fuzzy and the Columbus Clingstones. Oh
my gosh, I love that. Is that the team you stole from us?
Yeah, stole from Perth. Stole from Pearl.
Dang it, man, that's cool. Can I get one of those? Can you get one of those to 555 Broadcast Drive here in Mobile?
Well, I have to put out see if there's any more left. This was middle of the season last year, so if they got any more hanging around Synovus Park, we'll get you a couple. All right, but but like I said, we're deep in the heart of Braves country. Okay, so y'all.
So you're not very busy right now, is what you're trying to say.
This is cute coming from a Yankees, Mets, and Braves fan,
and now Blue Jays fan.
No, we're talking about a fan of the Yankees who just became a fan of the Yankees like 6 days ago, and then we're talking about a Mets fan who's delusional in thinking that they're going to win a World Series anytime.
I would like to correct your mistake. I became a fan of the Yankees 2 days ago, and I became a fan of the Blue Jays about 3 hours ago. Oh, Canada! That's how we're rolling into the rest of the postseason. That's all I have to say about that. And you call me the bandwagon. Say what you want to say. I just cheer for the winning team.
I can at least appreciate the fact that you're honest about it, Simone.
You know what?
Okay?
I want everybody to have a great time. I want everybody to have a really, really good time.
I can appreciate that. Okay.
I'm a fan of everybody.
But Patrick, love you, but low Mets will never die. Okay.
Sure. I guess we'll.
Y'all want to talk college football?
Let's talk some ball. Let's talk some college football. How about the Deep South's oldest rivalry? If there's anybody that's smack dab in the middle of it, it's you. Literally, figuratively, in about every single way, Jack. And one thing that you do in Columbus is work really, really hard. We have a ton of respect for your operation there, the Highlight Factory. I love that. I wish I would have coined that myself. Get the copyright. You guys obviously a very, very busy week, of course, with Auburn and Georgia. And man, if I see one more headline that is on upset alert, I'm going to sit here and just start to actually believe them because I'm not really there yet. And I'm trying to figure out, Jack, Why are folks so adamant that this game is going to be close and or that the Auburn Tigers are going to get the win over Georgia?
See, the thing is, Simone, everything kind of lines up for it to say that it could be Georgia on upset, okay? And listen, Auburn has the talent. There's no questioning they have the talent, okay? But they have not been able to put it together this season, okay? I mean, outside of maybe the Baylor game, they haven't really been able to put together a full game offensively.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it goes without saying. It's been said, it's been preached. Nick Saban has talked about it. Jordan Hare at night is different, okay? If you never experienced it, it's different. In my opinion, it is one of the hardest places to play. I don't know why it is not talked about.
I agree with you 100%. Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
I don't know why it's not talked about more, okay? It will be a hard environment. Even Kirby Smart has said it's not going to be easy on Saturday night. It's never easy when you go on the plains to play Auburn. And, you know, the rivalry, like I said, you know, and it's not saying that Georgia's been playing bad. Georgia's been playing fine, okay? And, you know, common knowledge would say Georgia should win this game easily, depending, you know, going back by how Georgia's been playing and how Auburn's been playing.
Sure.
But like I said, when you know how much talent that Auburn offense has, their defense has been phenomenal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can't overlook that.
That's about 12 years into that, my guy. It's about 12 years strong. I mean, the defense gets it done. The offense can't score.
Exactly. But just saying, you know, at this point, in my opinion, I think Auburn's defense is playing at a championship level. I really do think
that's been said several times on this show. No question. I agree with you.
And so, if the offense can put anything together, that shapes up for a Georgia upset.
If I had a dollar, telling you right now, Jack, I love you. I love you. And I'm telling you, it is like on repeat. It is on repeat in this building. Yeah. Gerhard, I feel like all of us are broken records. If the offense can just do something. We've said it under Coach Freeze. We said it in the 4 seconds that Brian Harsin was there. We dang sure said it when Gus was there. And it is a tale as old as time. It really is. Yeah. I just feel like there's a curse. I feel like there's a curse, G.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier this week about this matchup, and one of the interesting things is it seems like that Auburn can't protect Jackson Arnold at all. But it also feels like for the first time ever, Georgia's not very good at pressuring the quarterback. Is that another angle in game that you think can, go Auburn's way, where Auburn does pull off this upset?
I think if Auburn's going to have any shot in this game, they've got to be able to protect Jackson Arnold. And Gerhard, you're right. The Georgia defensive line has not been as feared as they've been in previous years, okay? You know, we talk about the defensive line for Georgia has been a NFL draft factory, basically, okay? And it's been different, okay? But at the same time, you know, it's an opportunity for Auburn if they can keep Jackson Arnold upright.
Yeah.
I mean,
or if he can get rid of the dang ball.
That too.
Jack.
But
I have those triple sacks that are in Norman, like ingrained into my head. Gerhard and I sitting at Baumhauer's and literally just in utter. I said, if this dude takes a sack to end this game, I'm never watching an Auburn snap. Now that did not last very long because I did continue to watch the game. But I literally could not believe he allowed. Just throw it anywhere. I don't even care. Throw it on the back of the end zone. Just don't take a sack and don't get a safety in the last play of the game in your former stomping ground. What?
Exactly,
dude.
And let's just be honest about it, okay? I feel like, and we're at this point where now I feel like this is a borderline must-win game for Auburn and for Hugh Freeze. I really, really do. He's got to coach his best game offensively if Auburn's gonna have a shot in this one, okay? Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with Coach Freeze, okay? He's the offensive play caller. He's supposed to be the quarterback guru, okay? And listen, the good vibes were there at the beginning of the season. You know, the win over Baylor had everybody, thinking, hey, this team might actually go to the playoff. But, a game in Oklahoma that they should have won, and then that Texas A&M game, which might have been an insult to offenses everywhere. Like, you can't afford to lay an egg prime time at home against one of your biggest rivals. You can't afford to do it.
Bro, we got some funny people in Next Star. I swear to God. I laughed through Brian a minute ago. Jack cracks me up every time we talk. And part of the reason I laugh is not only because you're funny, Jack, but I swear to God, Auburn fans entering the year with national championship hopes, only to start 0-2 in SEC play, with a coach possibly getting fired. How many seasons in the last 13 that I've covered this team have we? Out of 13, I would say, I don't know, 11. That same storyline in some capacity has existed. It's exhausting.
Simone, this is my 13th college football season at this television station, okay? My first one was the year the prayer and Jordan Herring to kick 6, okay?
Hey, I was there too, my guy.
Well, I wasn't there. I wasn't working in sports at the time. I was working in our production department, okay?
Well,
but I was in our control room when both of those games happened over our air.
Yeah.
Okay? But, it's wild to see, essentially it's just rinse and repeat. Is rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Okay? And the expectations do not die down. It doesn't matter who the coach is. But, like I said, when you have the amount of talent that this program has right now, okay? Like, you've got to do something at some point.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I don't even, I think Auburn fans, I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to be satisfied with, losing a game against Georgia. But it might give them a little bit of hope if they're competitive in this game, okay?
Yeah.
Don't
go out there and make it close. I mean, I really hate to even say that, because then there's also the frustration of, if it's close, can you not win there in the end? But do you feel good that you didn't lay a total egg?
Yeah.
Let's take a listen to Hugh Freeze quick. I know we obviously had a couple of availabilities with the coach here. Let's hear what Coach had to say about the Deep South Olds rivalry this edition.
We definitely self-scouted everything to see where we're heavy tendency-wise on things, and then we had plenty of time, so it was both. Got a jump start on Georgia also, and but we did both. Sense of urgency is this. I mean, look, it's always a sense of urgency. You play in the SEC, and there's a lot of teams that are in situations similar to ours, and now it's about the next game up, and that's Georgia for us. And what an exciting opportunity, and that's what our focus is, and the sense of urgency should be heightened constantly when you get these opportunities.
Coach Hugh Freeze certainly knows what is at stake here. He knows how important this game is. We're going to take a really quick break, Jack. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation and kind of break down what this matchup looks like against the Georgia Bulldogs here on Saturday at Jordan-Hare Stadium. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, of course, two sides of the rivalry. We spent all day talking about Auburn and the frustrations there. Over on the other end there, Jack, of course, Georgia right now, a lot of opportunity still ahead for both teams, but Georgia's certainly in the driver's seat. They still can control their destiny despite the loss to Alabama. What is kind of the state of Kirby Smart's program in 2025 right now?
Simone, last week was a major help, okay? Because there was a lot of questions. If you go across, Georgia fans, they say that they should have won that game easily against Alabama, okay? That, Alabama didn't win it as much as Georgia lost it, okay? So last week was a definite get-right game for the Dogs, and now, once again, this is one of those ones that you just circled on the calendar. You know, you had Alabama circled on the calendar. Obviously, you got Ole Miss and Texas circled on the calendar. Now you got Georgia Tech circled on the calendar too. But Auburn's been the one, not so much because of the team, but it's because of the team, the place, and the time. Okay? And this is one of those things where Georgia's had a young team. They've had to get a lot of guys some experience. You know, now they got to go to a hostile environment, and they've got to be able to get the job done on Saturday night. You know, Gunnar Stockton, his first year as the starter for Georgia, but, you know, he's been able to hold his own both passing and rushing, but now it's like you got to go into a place where you're facing a defense that's one of the best in the country. You got to be able to not make mistakes, and honestly, you got to be able to get the ball to your wideouts, and then you got to let your running backs do work. I mean, I think the biggest thing for Georgia has been getting their running back so much experience. Chauncey Bowens has been a revelation for the Dogs this year. He's been a workhorse for them. I think he's really pretty much RB1 at this point. You got Nate Frazier, who's still there. He has experience. He's been there a while. He's got experience. And then Josh McCray, he's been kind of a bowling ball for them at the goal line situations. He's the guy that got the game-winning touchdown against Tennessee. So, you know, the Dogs have the experience of going into hostile environments and getting the win.
Sure. So
you got to basically take what you did against Tennessee, you know, aside from the slow start. And that's something that they've got to fix too, is starting slow. But aside from the slow starts, you got to be able to take what you did against Tennessee and take it with you down 85 to go to Jordan-Hare.
Yeah, you teed up my question because Joey Aguilar started that game, I think, like 14 of 16 and 100-something yards and a couple of touchdowns early on in that game. How much is that Georgia defense preparing for Jackson Arnold? Because you know that Auburn has watched that tape, and I would expect Auburn to come out and try to do what Tennessee did, get the ball out to Cam Coleman and some of their talented receivers.
Absolutely. You know, that's going to be the focus for this Georgia defense and the thing is that, you know, we talk so much about Arnold throwing, but Arnold's probably one of the better runners for quarterbacks in the SEC. Okay, they do a lot of running, whether it's design runs or whether if the play breaks down and he just takes off with it. And that's something that the Dogs are gonna have to be aware of on Saturday if they're going to be able to contain that Auburn offense. And then on top of that, you know, Auburn's receivers are talented. You got Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, Horatio Fields, and that's going to be a task for that Georgia defense, okay? Georgia, the defensive players, they're really good now. It's a solid unit, but that is elite wide receiver room that you're going to be going up against coming up on Saturday.
Let's take a quick listen. We got Kirby Smart. Yeah, let's take a quick listen to Coach Smart here this week, gearing up for this one on the Plains.
Well, it's not necessarily hard. I mean, it's not what makes it hard at Jordan-Hare. It's what makes it hard anytime you go on the road, right? It's an intense, crazy environment. The night games are more so than the day games in terms of that atmosphere that's created. But you know, we practice in that. Like we create an environment of chaos and noise and try to create confusion and do things so that we have to communicate in that. So our guys get to practice in it. We'll have to go out and execute. I don't know what increases from game 1 to game 2 on the road more. I think, you know, you got a lot of freshmen that now may not have as much anxiety because they've done it once. There's certainly more anxiety the first time you do it, but it's not like that goes away. You have to be confident and know your plan and execute your plan.
In the SEC, as we know, Kirby Smart is certainly going to make sure that his young guys know it's hard to play on the road and at Jordan-Hare Stadium specifically. Quick, Jack, quick key to success there for Georgia there at Auburn. What do you think?
I can't hear you right now.
Oh, I got you now. My bad. Quick key to success there for Kirby Smart and Georgia to get it done there at Auburn.
Still nothing.
Nope, still got it. All right, guys. We lost Jack. Not sure. Jack, we're gonna go to break. We'll text you, my guy. You can't hear me, but I can hear you, and you look good too. So
technology works for you until it doesn't.
No doubt. All right, guys. It's been a good first hour here on Southeast Sports Plus. We're gonna figure out why we dropped audio. I have no idea. Something went down here in the hub, in the highlight factory, and so we'll get that fixed up as we go into hour number 2. But Southeast Sports Plus, we'll be right back, guys. Stay with us.
Outbound transmission?
Affirmative.
Crew ready?
Check.
Signal lock?
Check.
Downstream stations online?
Linked and locked.
Let's light this candle.
Flame on.
In 3, 2, roll show open.
In our neck of the woods, sports is tradition. Sports is passion. Sports is family. Sports is fun. Welcome to our house. This is Southeast Sports Plus live with Simone and Gerhard Mathangani.
Southeast Sports Plus rolling right along, and you know, our guy Lane Kiffin, always good for, and I don't know if this is really a shot or just, he always likes to give his takes on things throughout the state of the state. He's one of those coaches that just really pays attention to things that are going on throughout the league and throughout college football. He's very in the know, social media guy. And of course, we've recently heard news out of Auburn that Auburn University chose to move their home opener against Baylor next year from a game that was supposed to be played at Jordan-Hare Stadium to the Aflac kickoff game in Atlanta. And this is a home-and-home series. Of course, they opened the season at Baylor this year. Now, because of NIL money, is what we're told, what the university said, is it's $5 million worth of opportunity here for Auburn players. And they decided, hey, we're going to make the move. This is in the best interest of our student athletes. And Lane Kiffin has something to say about it.
He did. And excuse me, I thought it was very interesting because to me, Lane Kiffin, as you mentioned, he is very cerebral when it comes to not only football, but the state of college football as it stands right now. And he understands that there are a lot of changing things. And he's not at a school that's like Michigan, that's like Texas Tech. He's at a school with a lot of affluent people, but not necessarily the same budgets.
Sure.
So he came out and said, and I want to quote him verbatim. He says he likes the home games for his fans. They come out, they support. And all the people that are in the town that come to their town for these home games. Then he says a little bit later, NIL dollars aren't the answer to everything. And so seemingly taking a jab at Auburn, pulling their game out of Jordan-Hare, saying that almost robbing those fans of that experience. It is a little different for me because you mentioned it when this news came out. Atlanta is kind of Auburn East. There is a ton of fans that are in the Auburn area that now live in Atlanta or in and around Atlanta, and it's a very easy commute over there. I just thought it was really interesting because he comes from a very, very specific. I mean, Oxford. That is probably I would say 60 to 80% of their economy are those home games there at Oxford. And so I just thought that it was interesting, a guy that's kind of, on top of everything, basically voicing a little frustration that college football seemingly looks more corporate than it probably in his mind wants to.
And I don't want to use this phrase to be dramatic, but sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. And I don't think that this is necessarily a desperate measure to move your game out of your stadium 2.5 hours to Atlanta to give your guys a bigger stage and more money. I think that here's what I would offer back to Lane Kiffin. Here's what I would offer back to Kirby Smart and any other one person that's going to. Would they be saying the same thing if it was their opportunity and their opener that Georgia moved from Athens to Atlanta right there in their backyard? Not that far, not much of a difference there for Auburn to Atlanta. I mean, straight up the interstate. I mean, like, to me, it's easy. It's very easy to try to paint that as a negative, just like Auburn is painting it as a positive for them. You have to play the game. So, yes, there's going to be outcry and this on each side. That naturally that's going to come. And Auburn, it's not like Auburn didn't sit there and outweigh the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
I think that if we're talking about, I don't know, an established program of success right now, which is not the Auburn Tigers, newsflash on this program in case you didn't know, like, they're not good. So, okay. Why keep doing the same thing? Let's try something different. What do we have to lose? More games? Okay. No. Like, let's just try something. And maybe get more money.
And I always thought it was really innovative. And football is such a copycat sport because, like, once something works, then everybody else tries it.
Yeah.
Now, Auburn is coming out that this is very, very different from everything else that we have seen, using these platforms to try to go get NIL dollars and being upfront about it and being loud about it on the front end. I do think it is really interesting because let's just say it does work. They're estimating $5 million. Let's just say this does work, and Auburn has clear, dollars and cents in the receipts to show, hey, this is a direct impact to our student athletes, and this is how they got paid. Will there now be a situation where LSU moves a game to Jerry World, or you know what I mean, or
in my opinion,
or Ole Miss does? Yeah,
I think that's like the free market money, as you'd call it, right? So there you go.
Yeah.
There's the money that's like right now, whatever call it, what you want to call it. The money is there. Like right now, everyone has to work within this 20.5. And then you got Hunter Yurachek in Fayetteville saying they don't even have 20.5. Okay, and everyone's sitting here saying that they're poor, they don't have this, can't even get to that cap to even pay the guys this. Okay, Auburn is not that. I'm not trying to say that. My point is, go find money that's on the up and up. Go find money that isn't going to be the side-handed stuff that you think that's coming back too, guys. We're gonna have the Burger King bags and the money and the cash and all that nowadays with the third-party stuff. And that's going to be happening. With the NCAA wants to try to take that to court again, we'll find out. But schools have to look for ways to get creative on both sides. Here's the deal. Auburn's getting creative, getting more money by doing this. Lane Kiffin's got to get creative because he has nothing to he doesn't. What's he going to sell?
Yeah.
Some land in Oxford?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Here, dude, come check this out in Mississippi.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. I'm not trying to hate on Mississippi. My point is, Lane has nothing to really say other than, okay, we have 20.5. We're going to get a little bit of chunk of this. But it's Ole Miss. And it's easy to say, when you're one of the top teams in the SEC right now, and all you're doing is firing bullets, not taking them.
And I think that this ingratiates himself even more. I mean, I know he's already loved by that fan base, but that ingratiates himself even more with the fan base. Well, definitely, I kind of wish it was the Auburn fan base, but no, like he understands where he is, and because he's coached in Los Angeles. And he is coached in Boca Raton, which is right next door to Miami. When he was at FAU,
in Los Angeles.
He got for a few days coached in Los Angeles, but obviously coached at USC. He understands that in his certain situation right now, being in Oxford in those 6 games, maybe 7 games in Oxford, mean a lot, especially the one he just came off of with that big win over LSU. And I don't foresee this happening in conference games at all. I just see this happening in non-conference games to be able to get extra money, though. So, in my opinion, is it probably an easy stance situation to say, oh, yeah, NIL dollars aren't about everything. This is a great thing for the fans to be able to get these games at home.
Yeah.
I think it's just an easy place for him to come by because of where he sits right now in college football. And he's not at, a booming metropolis. This is Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see really quick when Lane Kiffin signed his extension. Because sometimes you say things that you just want to, because you know that you're about to go ask for the bag. Now, he's already getting paid pretty well. So it was late 2024. So obviously, after last year, they felt pretty good about what they were doing. And he goes to 2029. But every now and then, listen, everybody's got an agenda. I learned that from the best, watching Nick Saban. Nick Saban never missed. Everything that he said was for purpose. Lane Kiffin is a former Saban assistant. I mean, everyone, if you work it the right way,
right, you
were working it towards a little bit, try to have an edge on recruiting. And then when you have those guys in there, well, do you want to go to Auburn? Do you want to go to Ole Miss? Auburn's sitting here punching on their home games.
Right.
You want to come play in this atmosphere? And Brian Kelly, whatever he's doing is not working, so you got to at least try to paint the picture out there in the press conferences.
Yeah, and it is interesting. And this is something, because I was trying to make sure that I got the exact quotes right, I actually landed on the On3 article about this.
Yeah.
And it brought up something in like the 5th paragraph that I didn't think about. How much of this...
Paragraph 5, I refer there.
How much of this might just be because it's Auburn doing it?
Oh, that dude.
How many times has he needled it?
That's the first thing. After the documentary and how his daughter talked him out of the job. I mean, all he does is just wake up and say, "How can I take shots to there in the planes?"
Like,
I mean, he's poking the bear. He literally cannot help himself.
It makes me think that if this was the Florida Gators saying this, let's say the Florida Gators moving the game to Jacksonville and they play at Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium, does he have the same response, or is this because Auburn is moving their game to Atlanta? I think I didn't really think about that until I read the article. That part of the article, I was like, "Huh."
I'll say this:
it's interesting.
Lane Kiffin doesn't do anything by mistake, and I don't view if this were to be Florida, he'd be taking the same jabs and taking that job after Homa gets fired there and Billy Napier. I mean, what is it? You think Florida's going to want Lane Kiffin less if he's making a joke about Florida?
No. I meant the interest from the other way around.
Oh, no. What I'm saying is Florida doesn't want Lane any less, and Lane will do things like, it's one of those like here's the deal, women don't want dudes who just throw themselves at, there's got to be some sort of it is the most annoying thing on the planet, and this could go on for the next hour of this program. But all I'm going to say is,
let's dive in.
When you have a little bit of cat and mouse, when you have a little bit of does he want us? I'm talking about Lane Kiffin in Florida there, by the way. And you have a little bit of just an intrigue there. You don't just throw it all out there. I mean, you gotta throw something that people have to earn a little bit. Oh, he doesn't like us. If Florida were to do that, does he not really like us? Let's just go try to get this. If he doesn't really like us, let's go after it harder, right? Word to the wise for any single male watching this program.
Yeah.
If you throw yourself out there, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you'll never
do less. I don't say do nothing. I said just do a little bit less, because if you just put it all out there,
give me a real world comparison here, because I feel like
here you go. Scroll.
Okay,
there's your real world.
What is doing the most and not doing enough?
I would refer you. I would refer you to the DMs on Facebook, on my text messages. That doing the most would be the definition of pretty much everybody.
I'm asking, how do you do it right?
Do less. Just hey, how's it going? Hey, I watch your show. That's a little bit no, I'm married, by the way, so I'm just giving good examples.
Practical advice for those
others
of you out there.
If you just throw it and you're incessant, what's the term we got for that? Are we allowed to say that on the program?
Incessant?
No, what's the term that you have for guys like this? Are we allowed to use that or no?
It might be frowned upon.
Okay, we won't use that word.
It's the short version of the word simple.
Yeah. I played a song for you one time about it.
You are not going to use that on this program. I don't even know. I just know that these two taught me what it was. I'm unsure I know the context of it now, but I'm unsure where it falls in the category of FCC violations. I don't want to try. I am not trying to get this program taken off of the air. So, without further ado, we're going to take a very quick break. And we have a lot more to get to. And it does not include dating advice. But I will give you a lot more about football.
Yeah, the people might want it. People might need it out there.
You know what? That's the After Hours, SES Plus. And we'll let you know when that show starts.
SES After Dark.
We would have too much fun. Guys, we're taking a quick break. And we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus, rolling along in hour 2. Several games on the SEC slate this week, and a lot of injuries that have been some of the high-profile headlines right now in Week 7 of the season, Gerhard.
Yeah, they have, and I think when you take a look at this thing, big picture, the injuries have really kind of compounded when you talk about quarterbacks. Obviously, Garrett Nussmeier, but then the big one with being John Mateer, because the Nussmeier one, it has led to their first loss of the season. Yeah. Will the Mateer one do the same? That's going to be interesting as they face Texas this week.
Yeah, and our guy Holden Cruzmark always holding it down for us in Oklahoma City. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Holden. Of course, all eyes are on that QB1 spot there for Oklahoma. What you thinking? What are you hearing? What's the word going into this game?
Well, all of the things that you hear right now is that Mateer is pushing to play in this game, which makes sense if you're a competitive athlete, that you want to be able to play in, basically their biggest game of the year, the biggest rivalry. And, if things go well for Mateer, this may be his only chance that he gets to play. He might be heading to the NFL after this. You never know if things go well. So I'm sure he knows he wants to play and everything. But to me, I just don't really see it because, it was 2 weeks ago he broke his thumb against Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just don't, and it's it's his throwing hand too.
Right.
I just can't imagine that you're able to, play quarterback amazingly with a thumb that just got surgically repaired less than 2 weeks ago.
I worry less about how to play quarterback in terms of throwing as much as I would protecting the quarterback and him not suffering another injury. And maybe it's because I have broken my thumb and I've broken my finger and both are still not straight. And I think for me, just from experience, the re-injury possibility on one of your fingers is so high, and they're in there. You put the splints and the screws. I don't know exactly what he had. I'm not a surgeon either, but I can tell you that the margin of error, the possibility of hurting, re-injuring something, and then just putting yourself backwards a lot is really, really high. So I would just be stunned, G, if this guy Holden, if he was in this game.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And did you get Dr. Shin to do your thumb surgery?
I know, but I wish I would have, because honestly, the guy who did it the first time, well, this is what my middle finger looks like. I mean, I know it ain't good. It's not straight. So, and then my thumb is, it's just it quit growing because the growth plate broke. So it's a little bit smaller than the other one. So, that's college basketball for you. But yes, I just think that there's a lot of concern as to if he gets drilled and he's going down, and it's his body up against his hand. You can pat it as much as you want to pat it. The truth of the matter is, if you get crushed by somebody, especially with this defense that they're going up against, that's not a fun time.
Yeah, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't risk it, because especially in this era of college football where you can take on a loss or even two, maybe even three, and still be able to make the playoff. And so I just don't really see the benefit, other than I know this guy really wants to play in the game, and he's going to be pushing for it. So it's going to be hard to say no to him, because, at the end of the day, you have to trust that he knows his body and what, he's capable of, and the fact that he feels confident he wouldn't re-injure it. But you also kind of have to protect him from himself too. You have to understand that, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to be able to, have Mateer available later in the season. And if you are able to make the playoff, you'd like to have him play in the playoff for you. So I don't see the real benefit. And just the way that Texas has played this year, I don't know that you're necessarily super concerned that you can't beat them with Michael Hawkins at quarterback.
Right.
Because Texas hasn't really shown you oh, wow, we have to play perfect and we need Mateer to be able to beat them. They've looked vulnerable this year. And their offense isn't going to necessarily put up a ton of points, especially against this OU defense. So, I think Michael Hawkins could win a game where it's 21-17, 17-14, something like that. And, really just rely on this defense to win you the game. I don't think that's a bad game plan. And, obviously Hawkins played last year and they didn't score a single touchdown in that game, but the circumstances are a little bit different. He's got a lot more receivers, a better O-line, a better offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, all of those things. Maybe I'm wrong, but I trust Michael Hawkins to be able to go out and beat Texas this week if that's what they decide to do.
And it's obviously a new play caller from this time last year when Michael Hawkins Jr. Had a different play caller than Ben Arbuckle. How do you think Arbuckle will handle this? Obviously Kent State last week. You're not going to get anything from that. But how do you think that he calls this game and this situation with Hawkins running it back there against Texas?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, because I think both teams will want to kind of stack the box and make these quarterbacks beat you if it is Hawkins versus Arch, because neither one has necessarily wowed you with their arm in the games that you've seen them play. So, and I believe that Arch is the leading rusher for Texas, and Mateer's the leading rusher for OU. And, if Hawkins was playing, he'd probably be the leading rusher as well. So I think both teams will want to try to stack the box, and that'll be interesting because you'll get a lot of one-on-one matchups. So it'll be interesting to see if Ben Arbuckle wants to take some shots, let Hawkins kind of throw it deep to some of your receivers. They got some burners, and, Isaiah Satania and Deion Burks, they've got some speed. Maybe you let them go throw some go balls and see what happens. And maybe that's how they get their touchdown. I remember, in the game they won against Auburn last year at Auburn, Michael Hawkins had that nice deep ball to J.J. Hester that set up a touchdown. He can throw it. Maybe you don't have as much confidence with him as you do Mateer, but that'll be the interesting thing to me. And I think if you are Arbuckle wanting to call plays in this game, you maybe try to lean more towards the run, some quarterback options, things like that. Really get the RPO game. Try and get him some easy completions early to build the confidence and, see what happens. Maybe test the Texas defense and see how much they're going to play up and creep up on that line of scrimmage. But yeah, I mean, Arbuckle's shown he's pretty creative at times when he wants to. Whenever they're not playing Kent State and Illinois State.
Well, hold on a minute, Holden. All I'm gonna say is we had a Jaden Ott sighting. The guy is living, breathing in Norman, and he speaking of different weapons and folks that we could possibly see. And I listen. I tried to challenge you on this, and I said, dude's just gonna, he's gonna say I'm out. Just go ahead, redshirt me. I'm gonna go do something different. And you said, no, we're gonna see him, and we did. What's the latest on this guy?
Yeah, no, I mean, really, you were right though. If he didn't play at all against Kent State, what you'd have to be thinking, what's the point of staying around? Because if they don't trust me enough to play against Kent State, how are they going to trust me enough to play against Texas?
But was that the holdup, Holden? Was it because that they didn't trust him? I mean, what was going on? I still is this like the mystery of the world?
That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
They don't trust him to what? What are they going to do? Go punt it? Is it he's going to drop it? I mean, what do they think he's going to go punch an official? What is it that they think he's going to do that they don't trust him to do if they can't even put him out there to try?
Yeah, well, I remember from earlier in the season, one of the things with Javonte Barnes that they noted is that he's really good at pass blocking. And I think that was maybe one of the areas that Jaden Ott wasn't picking up was maybe the pass blocking element of it. But also the guy's so dynamic, you kind of just have to roll
him somewhere
with
else.
it.
Yeah, I mean, find something else to do. Don't block. Yeah, just put him in some sort of scheme.
He was banged up in fall camp too a little bit, and so they just, I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. It didn't really make any sense to me at all. But we finally saw him, and I mean, it wasn't like he had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I mean, we saw him, and he ripped off a couple nice plays, and I just think you're going to need him to be able to beat Texas.
Was there any availability with him after the game, or has there been is he now going to be there lead back, and they're just going to he's rolling out there as doing all of the interviews? I mean, listen, you all act like that's crazy. We've seen it before where a guy doesn't play, and then he's randomly gets inserted into this game against Can't Read, Can't Write, and then all of a sudden here he is. Now he's the star weapon. I mean, is he going to come back, or is he just chilling, or what?
We actually saw it a couple of years ago at OSU with Ollie Gordon, where they, a few games in, they, didn't play him at all, and you're sitting there hey, this guy looks pretty good to me. I don't coach.
I'm
then
just
he
saying.
goes on and wins the Doak Walker Award. So
sometimes we're not that dumb, Holden. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes we know what we're talking about. That's all I gotta say.
I think that Jaden is going to be more involved. Yeah. We didn't get to talk to him after the game, but you got the sense from the teammates where it was kind of hey, we know that this guy's capable of doing it. Now you guys got to see it. And so it's kind of one of those weird things. It's still a mystery why he didn't get more touches, especially, it's not like they've played all cupcakes. They played Auburn and Michigan, and the dude barely saw the field. He didn't even see the field against Auburn at all. So that was just a weird thing to me. I think we'll get to see him against Texas.
Auburn's a nicely decorated cupcake. I just wanted to argue that really quick. It's a cupcake. It just looks has a different logo. They tried to put it up and make it look nice. There's a lot of money over there. But you make it look like a cake, and it still might just be a cupcake.
Speaking of Auburn, speaking of that cupcake, Auburn couldn't protect Jackson Arnold at all. Texas has had a rough time protecting Arch Manning so far this season. Is this Oklahoma defense just licking their chops and saying, you know what, we didn't get 10 sacks against Auburn, we're going for 10 sacks against Texas?
I think so, and I think they kind of know that, this one's going to come down to them. because they know that there's I mean, I would say it's kind of up in the air still whether Hawkins or Mateer's going to draw the start, but you know that the defense is going to come down. They're going to be a big factor in this game whether they end up winning or not. And I think they're not looking down on Texas's O-line, but they're for sure saying, hey, we can get after these guys. And one thing too, just that I've noticed with this OU defense is that they've been really good at stopping the run this year. And, if they can do that again against Texas, then you make Arch try and beat you. I think that's, kind of where Jackson Arnold got against OU is they needed Jackson Arnold to throw the ball, and he ended up holding on to it. That's why he took so many sacks. Could be a similar recipe against for Arch, against OU's defense this year. I wouldn't want to have to go up against them. I mean, even last week they played without a couple of their starters on the defensive line, and they still, I mean, we know Kent State, but they still got after the quarterback and everything. But I would be a little bit nervous as a Texas fan, knowing how the way their offensive line has played and how the OU defensive line has played this year.
Holden, we talked to Brian and we talked to Roger earlier this week and just kind of dissected what this game, the Red River rivalry, is all about. And of course, it's played at the Cotton Bowl, and I think Brian was voicing some concern about why that even exists anymore. And I think that our buddy Roger was pleading the fifth on that. And there was and this rivalry is interesting. And I did pose the question of like, hey, did it get any more important? Like, the SEC just means more. When they came into the SEC, was there a shift? Did anything really change there because of like the caliber of the league and the playoff implications? And both guys seemingly acted like, hey, this has always meant a lot to these fan bases. It's not like there's anything that was heightened when they came into the league last year. What's your take on this rivalry? How hot is it? We know a lot about the Iron Bowl. This is one of those we don't really know a lot about outside of what we see on television. What is the atmosphere like? What is the game day like? And what's your coverage plan like? I always like to hear that.
Yeah, well, I don't think the only way you could add extra juice for it is if they're both in the top 10.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I mean, this game is the most important game for both fan bases every year. And we've seen it where we've had some good Texas teams that lose to some bad OU teams. We've had some good OU teams lose to some bad Texas teams over the year. And, probably even in those bad Texas years or bad OU years, the one thing you hold on to is, hey, we beat OU. We beat Texas.
Sounds like the Iron Bowl, yeah.
And that makes your season feel at least a little bit better if you're able to beat this team. And, where they play at the point in the season, it's kind of the halfway point. And, it could really decide how the rest of your season is going to go. Yeah. If OU's 5-0 right now, they beat Texas, you're thinking they're pretty good in terms of making the playoff. Sure. Especially this year, Texas almost has to win this game if they want to make the playoff. Because if they lose, they have just zero margin for error the rest of the way. They'd have to win out.
Oh, I thought they were at that point.
But yeah, the game's awesome. I mean, I got to go a few times as a fan when I was in college.
Oh, I love that.
And the last 2 years last year's game wasn't super fun because one team showed up and the other didn't. But the 1-2 years ago where it came down to the wire, I mean, those are the games that you live for and covering, just the excitement from both sides. And, that touchdown was in the OU end, so you're just deafened by the noise of the Dylan Gabriel to Nick Anderson touchdown, and you can kind of hear it on the other end where it's just stunned silence and everything. And it's an awesome game just because it's split down the middle at the 50. Basically, one end it's a home game, the other end you're on the road.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's a really interesting, just tactically for coaches too and the players, because you get down in the other end and all of a sudden now you can't hear. So it's an interesting thing. You start on one end and you can communicate, and then the next you get past the 50 and all of a sudden you're having to go silent count or whatever it is just to try and beat the noise and everything. So
that's awesome.
It's an awesome game. I've never been to the Iron Bowl.
Throw deep. If you're on the 20, just go for it all, man. Just try to get all the way down there. Don't try to ground and pound. Forget all that. Don't worry about trying to call plays on the other side.
I've never been to the Iron Bowl. I've never been to Ohio State, Michigan, but OU, Texas, those are the three big rivalry games.
Yep.
It's the three biggest ones. Whichever one you want to pick is your choice. But the OU Texas just has that uniqueness because it's a neutral site game. They never play at home. And it's always the week of the Texas State Fair, and the game is played in the middle of the fair. It's just
cool.
It's different. It's unique.
It is very Texas and Oklahoma. It is very Western, and that's really really neat thing. I love that. That's really good.
You're
stuff.
on the sideline, and all of a sudden you see Matthew McConaughey and Glenn Powell and
his
Trey
like,
Young and all these
like
celebrities that come out for the game.
I love it.
But speaking of big names, like games like the Iron Bowl, you have like it almost creates legacies where like you have Bo Jackson. People remember Bo Jackson's games against Alabama. People will remember Cam Newton's games. They have Cam back. I mean, it's got its own nickname. Is it like that there, where their legacies are created within those fan bases? And if so, who's the guy on Saturday that could be that guy that kind of changes his own legacy in Sooner Nation?
Well, John Mateer, if he ends up playing, he would be the one to lead them to the victory and everything. And but no, there's so many great plays, so many great moments. One of the things that sticks out the most for pretty much any fan of either side was back in the early Bob Stoops days when Roy Williams leapt over the defensive line and sacked Chris Sims in the end zone for what ended up kind of sealing the game for them. They call it the Superman play and stuff like that. Baker Mayfield's been awesome. You've had just plenty of great players. Colt McCoy, George. It seemed like the Shipleys haunted OU every year that they played. So
was that somewhere else?
That was Ohio State.
Oh shoot. Yeah. Is that where that was?
Ohio State, Oklahoma.
When did he plant the flag? He's crazy.
Yeah, because they lost at home the year before, and then they won at Ohio State the next year, and Baker planted the flag and everything.
It's a program that deserved it. That's all I got to say about that. So I'm not upset about that.
But getting to wear the golden hat is an iconic moment and something that everybody wants to do. Yeah. And maybe we get a Michael Hawkins or a Jaden Ott moment. Maybe it's Arch Manning. Heck, maybe
weird.
One of these defensive guys ends up having a 3-sack game that ends up kind of determining the game in a 14-10 awful defensive battle.
We love those ones. It might be.
I think those are awful. The low scoring games, I think they're awful. That's my hot take.
I'm not a defensive.
Some people may like them. I don't.
I'm married.
That was the one thing I hated about the SEC growing up, was there are too many low-scoring games.
Yeah, boy, how times have changed, just in all of college football. But yes, I think there was a LSU Bama game that ended in like 9-3 or 9-6 or something.
Auburn Mississippi
that was
State.
a national title game too, right?
Yeah. Was that the Yeldon game? TJ Yeldon game.
Yeah, and then it was an Auburn Mississippi State game that was 3-2.
Yeah,
it wasn't baseball.
I mean, you know what? Might as well have been. So, yes, there's no doubt. Holden, listen, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Looking forward to this game for sure. And then, of course, unpacking all of it next week with you guys to see who comes out on top, man. And in a lot of ways, depending on what the personnel is, this could go anybody's way. So, Holden, appreciate your time. Join us for OKC. Have a good week and good weekend, man.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Good stuff. Thanks, Holden Cruzmark holding it down, as always, there for us in Oklahoma City. We're going to take a quick break here on Southeast Sports Plus. Much more to come when we return. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Southeast Sports Plus. Talk a lot of college football as we get ready for another big week, but also the NFL. The next week begins tonight, Thursday night football. And we were joking earlier about the Philadelphia Eagles. I made a quick joke as we were talking with Jack Patterson that he said that, this is Kirby Smart. This is a really good defense for Kirby Smart, but it's not the best defense. And I said the reason why is because all those guys are in Philadelphia right now, all playing for the Eagles.
There are more Bama guys that I feel like I covered during like the Saban heyday that are playing for the Eagles that I watched the Super Bowl last year. Then it's like they pretty much go and they go pick up guys who are in the SEC. We talked about this in the show before.
Right.
Is like, hey, they know that the talent is the best in college football. These are the guys we got to draft.
Howie Roseman, who's the GM for the Philadelphia Eagles, he has this grand idea. Let's just go get guys from the best conference who play NFL guys every single week. Now, I know at GMs, they love to find those diamonds in the rough. But every now and again, I think they just outthink the room. And it's just like, guys, go to Georgia.
I counted
Go to
six.
Tuscaloosa.
This is not hard.
6 Georgia guys.
Is
there really 6?
Yes.
On Philly.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many do you have Alabama list?
Alabama, I can roll.
I know you
through
got
it right now.
Landon
And
Dickerson.
on both sides,
you got,
yes. Obviously, Jalen.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
4 if you do count Jalen.
Yeah.
And
then
people go
right.
back and forth about that.
I mean, I could be a really good NFL GM is what I'm figuring out.
Why don't you try your luck on Madden?
You know what? Literally. No, Madden, I don't know about Madden, though. Like, listen, guys, if we 3 of us play, that's going to be on our next edition of Southeast Sports Plus. We're going to the...
I'm still so mad. I wanted to play the college football game at the Hall of Fame.
That was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
They were like, I'm like, why do y'all have this room? Why did you guys set up this entire room on the second floor?
I was thinking about it all week.
Dude, I literally was, and I was like, hey, Patrick, go ask. And he got a no. I'm like, okay, let me go ask, right? Because let me go do it. I'm going to tell these people they need to do it. They're like, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, what? Like, why? Why is this here? I didn't see anybody in it the entire time.
No, nobody.
Still don't understand.
Nobody. We got to talk to your boy Dennis Crawford and say, hey, look, man, got to get his access in there.
I have a feeling Dennis Crawford was not the one that was running that room, but I mean,
no, he wasn't.
He
was in charge of the exhibits, but I'm like, you know what? Let's get it in here.
Exactly.
Get on sticks.
Guys, what's this Thursday night matchup all about tonight?
It's huge because you have Philly, who is having a good season by record, but if you look individually in their games, they have had some moments where they look awful. And especially Jalen Hurts. I mean, there was a second half where Jalen Hurts doesn't have a single yard passing. Saquon Barkley's been rough. And then on the other side, it's this rookie quarterback in Jackson Dart, who was in Oxford last year, played for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and he exploded in the preseason, and now he's having a good year overall. I find this matchup to be thrilling, not necessarily because I think that New York's got a real chance, which they could, but just where the states of these two programs, because Brian Daboll and those guys are believing, and Philadelphia, they might be questioning themselves a little bit.
I did feel like, and when I watched, we'll have run some Jalen Hurts on in here in a little bit, guys, but like, did it seem to you in what you saw from Jalen, he's like one of those very stoic interviews. He just seemed a little bit different. I don't know. I only watched a few minutes of this interview, and it just seemed like it was a little bit, not really a confidence thing, but like I think he reached back out to Nick Saban for some advice, and I'm not going to unpack that too much. I mean, there's people that I call for advice. I call you all the time, and ask what's going on, how'd you think about this and that, and you wonder, like, is there like a hangover effect here? Is there like, hey, we did this and now we just hit cruise, or what?
There's one thing that's come up this season that's been really surprising, and it's the absence of A.J. Brown. Yeah. And I think that's having a carryover effect on the rest of the offense. It feels like this year the Eagles' offense is so centered around the run game that when you become one-dimensional, I don't care if you're Saquon Barkley, it's not going to work. It's the NFL.
Yeah.
And, I mean, these guys, Saquon just had a 2,000-yard rushing season last year.
Yep.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
No doubt. And remember last year, the Eagles were going on this great run, and I don't know if you remember, but there was a big deal made of it in the time when they asked A.J. Brown in the locker room. This is after a win. What's the problem with this team? And he said the passing game, and everybody thought, him and Jalen are not on the same page. Yeah. But keep in mind, he and Jalen have known each other since they were like 17 years old. Yeah. They were trying. A.J. Brown was trying to get Jalen to go to Ole Miss with him. They've known each other for forever, but A.J. Brown just keeps taking these shots. And remember last year he was reading that book on the sideline in the playoff game. It just feels like A.J. Brown's like, hey, I have my money. I have my ring. I now want my stats. And the passing game isn't living up to that right now. And Jalen's trying to do both things. Win, but also, feed his guy the ball.
Make people happy and get all that. And how much of this, though, is that there is someone else who's who's calling the plays. That there's just when you have different staffing. When your former OC is now the head coach in New Orleans, and you have different people that are kind of calling the shots. That in and of itself is going to change the dynamic. Because I don't care if you get a similar system guy. I don't care if you. Anyone it's going to look different in play calling.
Right.
You can have like a style, like you can have the same personnel. And I think you and I were talking about this pre-show. Is like when you have someone else everyone sees the game differently. They attack the game differently, even with the same personnel. So sometimes I don't think it's necessarily time to hit the panic button. I mean, they have one loss, right? I mean, like I understand there are some teams. I mean, like look at the Jets, right? Okay, so like there are situations, right, where there's no chance, right, for some of these people to even get off the mark, and so you have to kind of probably take a breather a little bit and know that these are grown men. These are grown men.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to like play the media, and I here I am part of the media, but talk about hitting the over-obsessive, just overreact mark when it comes to how grown men talk. It takes a level. It takes me so much to really believe there's like this huge locker room issue or there's huge cancer. These dudes. They'll be laughing the second that all the media walks out of the locker room in the first place. And then it's like everything's fine. It's not, to me, it's just not that serious.
Yeah, and people get hyper fixated, especially Eagles fans. I mean, these are the same people. No disrespect if you're out there and you're an Eagles fan. You booed Santa Claus. And so, like, there's a certain angst in Philly. And it's not just their football team. It's their basketball team as well, the Philadelphia 76ers. It's the baseball team. There's a certain angst in Philly where they just have to live angry. And so maybe a lot of this hyper-fixation
not different in New York, I feel like. I mean, Patrick can live angry sometimes.
It's not in New York. But
there's nothing worse than a disgruntled Philadelphia fan in any sport.
Yeah.
I'll go on the record.
Want to know what's worse? Want to know here's all I'm going to say is when I sat there, there at the Caesar Superdome in February, and I watched the Eagles fans, and I watched the Chiefs fans, and I thought to myself, like, this is some type of hell right now. This is some type of something. How do you think? Wow. Yeah. But then Kendrick Lamar came, and I was fine. So it was like everything was good at that point. But I was like, this is something, guy. There is an entitled, and then there's mad, and I'm not sure which one's worse.
I mean, we had that in the NFL. Yeah. And then you go over to baseball. Last year's World Series, it was pretty much the same story.
Yes.
Entitled Yankees.
Yeah.
Then you look at the other side. Dodgers.
Yeah. That's got to be insufferable if you're a baseball fan. But no, I think there's a lot to it. I mean, think of the Eagles. They had, what's his name? Doug Peterson, who's their coach. They have a statue of him outside the link. They fired him like 3 weeks after the Super Bowl, it feels like. There's just something there. But Kevin Patullo is the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. And I just think that they've got to change something. And there is a rumor right now that, Miami, the Dolphins are struggling right now. They're struggling. And their coach sounds.
Is that because of Skinny Pants?
Yes, it's because of Skinny Pants. And if you listen to Skinny Pants, colder. If you listen to Skinny Pants' press conferences lately,
I don't actually. No, I'm not listening to them.
They
at all.
don't make any sense.
I quit listening to them. They didn't just.
They don't make any sense.
That's not something that's new or profound. That has been like that.
Yes.
The dude hasn't made sense in a minute.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw him, and I'm like, there ain't no way that's their head coach. I literally was like. Well, they let the manager talk today. That's nice. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be the hater.
At a skater park. No, he does. But the thing is, it's all good when it's rolling and the offense looks good.
Everything is. That's sports.
Everything is better.
Everything is better. Winning fixes everything. Yep. That is sports.
And it looks like it's crumbling. But he's considered an offensive genius. There are some rumors out there that if the Dolphins do fire Mike McDaniel, that he could be in line to be the OC in Philly, which I think would be easy, which would be interesting because I kind of like McDaniel offense with Jalen Hurts and being able to, because he molded Tua. I mean, he made Tua look good over the last couple of years, injuries aside. And so if that does happen, I'd be interested.
How poetic it would be.
It would be. That would be.
Oh, I know.
That's where my brain's at right now. Jeez,
but I mean, I feel like people are forgetting that. No offense to Jalen Hurts, he's never been a guy that's thrown it exceptionally well. He's always been known to tuck and run. Like I never thought of Jalen Hurts to be an absolute gunslinger that's just going to light up the field. It's just the two-pronged threat, the dual threat that, in my eyes, really made him like pop out. I'd be interested to hear your take.
Yeah, well, I haven't either, and I think Lincoln Riley, when he went to Oklahoma, redefined a lot of what he was able to do passing. And people will say, Jalen Hurts defenders will say, well, didn't he throw for 300 yards in one of those Super Bowls? I think it's a Super Bowl that they lost when they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he threw for 300 yards in that game, or had 300 total yards. Yeah. And so he's had pockets to where he looks good with his arm, but there's more bad than good, and I think that's what Eagle fans have been really frustrated with.
To me, it's not running. To me, there's no run and pass situation here when it comes to what his biggest talent is, and that's his mental.
Yes.
This guy,
no question.
When you've watched him, and I think I just watched one of our interviews from when they were gearing up for the national championship game there at Alabama. He was so stoic in sitting in situations that were really uncomfortable in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
And it absolutely helped him foster a type of mental fortitude. God, I sound like Nick Saban right now. That he is just able to go take into the league. And so you always did wonder, would he be able to put together enough pieces that you have to have? You can't just go to the league and be strong-willed mentally and go will a team to win. But if you have that and you have enough pieces, you go and you had the Oklahoma stop, that helps develop you as a passer. You already had the run game situation. You've weathered the storm as a guy who got yanked in the national championship game, only to have a young gun go in there and win the dang thing. Then you get put into the SEC title game and you win that there, and then you go into the league and you win a Super Bowl, and you've cemented yourself in the history of a franchise for the rest of your career, regardless of what happens at this point. To me, it's simply, we just did that, and now we have to redefine what 2025 looks like. And even the most mentally tough-willed people in the league still have that moment of, okay, like, I've got to get recentered. And if anybody can do it, it's Jalen Hurts.
It's him. It's no question it's him. And he's the son of a coach.
Yeah.
And so he understands what he needs to get there.
He is surgical in his approach.
Yep.
And it is, I love to watch it. I think the world of Jalen Hurts because, man, when you've listened to that guy enough and you've just seen him in the locker room, you've seen him in how he talks to guys, and it's never a demeaning take. He's always like an encourager, but he's honest. And to me, he can also take hard coaching. Like, that is the type of guy that you want to lead your franchise. He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those, you got to figure out what the style looks like. You're listening to a different voice. You're collaborating with a different guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's life, right? And if there's a guy that can do it, he can do it.
Keep in mind, this was their first loss since like week 4 of last year.
Yes, almost went a whole calendar year.
Almost a whole year. And it was against the Saints. Or no, it was the game before. It was the Bucs.
Right. Yeah.
The Buccaneers game,
like October 13th,
where they just got dismantled,
Yeah.
and they almost lost against the Saints. And then Dallas Goedert ripped off like a 70-yard touchdown, and then
they
changed the whole season.
Literally won every game all the way through the Super Bowl.
Maybe A.J. Brown rips off a 70-yard touchdown tonight, and it changes the whole season.
Maybe.
And you think everything could go south really fast for Philly. That's certainly, I mean, on the table for everybody. I just think that when you have a guy like that, you know how Jalen Hurts would typically take that sort of thing? He's like, that's probably good for us. I feel like I've seen the guy say stuff like that. I can literally I can see it in my mind's eye. I've seen him say before, we probably needed that loss. We probably needed this setback to get our lives in check and to go get into motion. And by the way, like, when's the last time we had an undefeated Super Bowl champion?
So the Miami Dolphins in 72.
Okay, and that was a second ago.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's all. Anyway. We're going to take a really quick break, guys, as we continue to dissect Thursday Night Football and everything else here on Southeast Sports Plus. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. Stay with us.
always good to get good direction from him and hear his voice and his perspective. There was something we used to talk about all the time at Alabama of winning the fourth quarter. And I think that, looking back on it now, talking to Coach Saban, like it's a very important thing when you talk about winning games, winning the fourth quarter and how you finish and how you establish yourself in the fourth. So obviously, we all got to play 4 quarters of football, and it starts with me and my operation and the level of, the level that I'm operating the offense in. And so I got to be better than that.
When I cut that soundbite and I was overlapping the video, I was looking for, obviously, him in the Crimson Tide uniform. I was looking for a little bit of Saban, him winning. And then naturally, you're like, oh, there's Brian Dable.
I happened to look up because Patrick made reference to his hair, and I forgot that he's had the long hair because he's been
he rocked that for a minute.
He's been clean cut for a while now.
Way better look there.
But then in the background of the video, here comes Brian Dable, and it lets you know how small this world is because Jalen Hurts is about to play Brian Dable today and shake hands after the game.
Why do you think Saban called him? I mean, hey, I think he called Saban. He's like, hey, coach, we're going up against Brian Dable here. I know that's I'm not. It's not exactly going to give me some defensive tips here, but what do you think about this? I mean, listen, it's all in the family when it comes to football. There's no doubt. But yes, Brian Dable obviously spent time there in Tuscaloosa, Saban assistant. There was a lot of complaints. I remember a lot of run the ball and a lot of that was taking place. And so now he's looking to see if he can make Jackson Dart something pretty.
Jay, you want
to? He's been good so far. I mean, Jackson Dart's been good so far. I
didn't say that. I'm just saying something pretty this lasting.
Two preseason. That's a question, and I don't know if
did I need to add that adjective?
because I was thinking about it to myself because to me this game could be that defining game. If you go out and beat Jalen Carter and this defense, then he could be the guy for the Giants moving forward. And if not, I think you're still questioning whether or not he is the guy.
Here's the thing. This Jackson Dart has the world in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like that Brian Dable is able to put the trust in the young gun.
Yeah.
In the middle of the season where he entered the season on the hot seat. I mean, before the season, I remember we were just talking.
That's why he did it, my guy. That's why he's there. That's called
desperate
measures. You could get fired, make a change, because here's the deal. You got nothing to lose. Put him in there.
We were talking about Bill Belichick going to New York whenever their bye week was.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, here he is.
But I think Dable looked behind him and he saw Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. He's like, I got to find my guy. And do you remember when Terrell Owens was crying? He's like, about Tony Romo, that's my guy, that's my quarterback, that's my guy, that's my quarterback.
Yeah.
If you saw the image with Brian Dable and Jackson Dart, I feel like it's the same thing.
Well,
that's my guy, that's my quarterback.
Here's the thing: if it goes well, it's gonna go. That is a really, really good thing. I mean, if you go put a guy who's been worn 7 different jerseys, done this, he doesn't do well. Every fan base in America's like, oh well. Same thing is going on there in New York. I mean, you haven't fixed anything.
Yep.
If you go in there and there's a possibility that someone who's probably a little naive and in a brand new rookie quarterback and a guy who has done nothing yet, and he goes in there, has even a little bit of success, wins a game. I mean, dude, that'll buy you 5 years.
Yeah,
are you kidding me? That's a game changer.
It's the security of it because if you find your guy, especially in the NFL, if you have your franchise guy, you could write those two. Head coach and quarterback. Look at Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. You could ride that thing for years and years and years and years and years.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. A big game tonight. Looking forward to that one, of course, and then a huge slate of college football guys as we roll right along into Week 7. It is flying by. I would really, really love if the fall weather would grace us with its presence in the state of Alabama because it's 90 today. So
I'm gonna leave us on this last note.
Oh,
womp, womp, womp. Simone is mad.
Oh, Canada. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 to 4. Goodbye.